having talked about AI and fraud and dating and payments, of course, the whole value chain of the telemedia industry will be coming together at the upcoming World Telemedia shows 2025. We've put 8.1 Live Barcelona to bed now, and we now look towards the two biggest events of the year, 3 day events that we're running in Dubai on the 11th to 13th of May at the Marriott Palm Jumeirah, which is an absolutely stunning hotel. There are a few discounted rooms available, so I would urge anyone that's thinking of coming to the show, please to get those rooms booked up as soon as possible. Apart from the fact it's a wonderful venue, it's very convenient to be living and sleeping in the venue where the show's going on. But Dubai will be a little bit warm, and if you are somewhere close by, and it's walking around is not going to be a great idea, and also traffic in Dubai can be awful, so please do try and make sure you're as close to the action as possible. The second event, of course, is World Telemedia Marbella. That will be happening at the spiritual home of telemedia, which is the Hard Rock Hotel in Marbella, and that will be happening on the 5th to the 7th of October. Paul and I are in the throes of, I wouldn't say the final throws, but the next couple of weeks are pretty crucial. If you are interested in telling your story or joining us as a thought leader in Dubai, we've got the main framework of the conference coming up, and I think it's probably would be useful just to skim over what we feel. I mean, there are always so many issues that we would love to cover, but time and spaces are limited. But I think we've really kind of encapsulated what would be important to the regular telemedia attendees, but also recognizing the fact that by moving the event or by hosting the event in Dubai, it does give us an opportunity to bring in new attendees from areas such as South Asia, Africa, and of course the MENA region in general. So what Paul and I have decided to do is we'll be running four kind of keynote sessions, which will be entitled Understanding, focusing then on MENA, Africa, South Asia, and of course India. And we've seen a lot of action from the Indian market, and a lot more attendees coming from India, and a lot more sponsors and exhibitors coming from India. So that seemed to make sense to us. If you are interested, or if you know a lot about those markets and feel that we absolutely must be hearing from you or talking to you, please get in touch as soon as you can. We're also very happy once again to have teamed up with the Mobile Ecosystem Forum, our friends at MEF, and they're going to be actually hosting two focus sessions. One which will be focused on advertising for MVAS services, and the other one will be talking more specifically about monetization of sports content. And I remember, Paul, when I first reported from Telecom World the Telecom Middle East. Was it? I can't remember
Mm.
what it's even. I
Yeah,
can't even
yeah.
remember. It was
I think
Telecom
it was
World Middle
telecoms.
East.
Yes, let's
Uh,
call it that. But yes, I
we are
remember it
now
well.
we are now replacing in a big way. There was quite a lot of interest from those networks with regards to sports content, which is huge in the MENA region, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a focus of governments across the Middle East to promote sport. I think already particularly things like Premier League football from the UK have always been very popular in the region as well. I think that's sort of expanded to sort of global sort of sports. So yes, sport is very much a prime content that's consumed, particularly in the Middle East.
Yeah, exactly.
I think sort of when you look at some of the other markets that you talk about that we're focusing on, such as South Asia and India, are also popular. I think in India, a lot of it is to do with music and film, particularly. But yeah, the sports side of things is sort of universal. And yeah, as you say, we're working with MEF to bring a really interesting looking session actually together about sort of sports content in the
Mm.
region.
And interestingly, we use broad terms like sport and, as you just said, film. But of course, the key really is then to understand the very sort of granular nature of each one of
Mm,
those, not those continents, but in those countries within those continents.
yeah.
Because there might be certain countries where and I think we talked about this before in India, and I think the number one sport is nowhere near football. It's I think something called Babati is in the top five. So if you're
Yeah.
looking to enter those markets, you better know what the locals are after, and World Telemedia is a place to find that out. Um, the other sessions, of course, we'll be covering. We mentioned earlier marketing new traffic sources, the continual challenges faced by marketeers and merchants by this changing media landscape, which is a phrase that we've reignited from the 90s. And we mentioned talking about things like social media, TikTok. These channels are now very much on the agenda for advertisers and publishers and merchants in the telemedia sector. There's going to be some specialist features on social media, how to work with Google, obviously, and affiliate marketing in general, which again, is crucial and very important to be able to see the whites of their eyes, because there's the it's a bit like a dark art. There's some aspects of affiliate marketing you really don't want to go anywhere near, and there's some absolutely fantastic areas of affiliate marketing, and we'd like to think that we showcase the fantastic parts at
Mm.
media. So that's important. Obviously, we will, of course, be running several deep dive sessions covering DCB and alternative payments, wallets, and everything in between, and possibly even some tokenization might even fit in there, Paul. But that's that side of thing. And finally, again, just a sort of a general shout out. We do feel like there's some opportunities to do some product demos. If you've got a good story to tell, if you've got some exciting platforms out there that you'd like to really showcase, we do have a separate space that we've set aside for individual companies to really show off their wares, and potentially also do some specific country update specials, which we think would be quite useful given the relocation or the location of the next event. Paul, in terms of conference and conference content, I know, as I mentioned, we haven't got too much. We'd like to be talking to people in the next sort of 10 days, really, to start getting serious.
Yeah, yeah,
Any sort
it's
of real
all
gaps
underway.
that you'd like to fill?
Well, I mean, as you say, I want to hear from anyone who's got an interesting story to tell around it. I think, in light of what we've been talking about on other podcasts and other episodes, I'm intrigued to find out more about dating, particularly in the different regions. I think the things that are going to be particularly interesting to get into is payments, because obviously there's a groundswell around DCB in all of those regional markets that you mentioned, but I think also they're a hotbed for alternative payments, and I'm interested to see how the two work together, there's an overlap, how that can fit together. So it's those sorts of things I think we're interested in. Anyone with good data. I think people with good and interesting and new ideas around content, because obviously that's the thing that drives all this forward. What sort of content is out there, what's popular. And I think as well, this as keeps coming up in the past few telemedia events, is this sort of idea of like long form content, short form content, educational content, how it all fits together. Like, how do you create a content strategy that involves the right proportion of the right kinds of content for the markets you're working in? And as you say, we've generalized a bit with Africa and Middle East. Each individual country therein is its own market, has its own sort of peculiarities and particularities. So it'd be good to hear from as many people as possible to get their views on each of those country markets. So that's what I'm after at the moment. The conference is taking shape. We should, in the next week or two, or 10 days probably next week, start to have names, so really sort of detailed idea of presentations up there. We'll probably talk about them in more detail in our next podcast. So yeah, it's all taking shape. Yeah, but always open to hear from people with new, different ideas, and any
Yeah.
ideas around the things that you've heard us talking about on our podcasts.
Yeah, no, and I would thank you for that. And I would also, of course, add that I think it's sort of implied that in every single session we run now, we'll have some sort of reference to security, anti-fraud, and the role of AI. I don't feel like
Mm,
AI is now going to be a session on its own, because
No,
everybody
it's
wants to know, what the benefits are, but also what the the threats are, and how it's going to impact, whether it's payments, whether it's content, whether it's marketing, whether it's fraud. I think it goes without saying that there'll be a continual string of AI conversations going through all of that, cutting through all of that. So, listen, we've taken up too much of everyone's time. If you are interested in receiving more information and you would like to see us again, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment below. If you'd like to get more information about World Telemedia, please go to wtevent.com, and remember that you can subscribe and sign up to our newsletters and our magazines by going to telemediaonline.co.uk. And we would love to add you to our database and mailing list, sorry, and keep you fully up to date with everything that's going on in the world of telemedia. So until next time, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks for your time, Paul.
Thanks for yours as always. It's
Back to
been a
work.
pleasure.
Back to
And
work,
back to
mate.
work.
See you soon. Bye bye.
See you soon, mate.